Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino. Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. This is my pre-market report. Let's start off with this. It's kind of, I don't know. Let me know what you think about this. So we've heard from, again, our illustrious, beautiful man of a president who has been relatively vocal with regard to calling out what is occurring in Gaza. In other words, how Israel is, he came straight out and said it, basically saying this is amounting to genocide for which we, you and me, are being forced to fund. Okay, so what just happened is kind of interesting. So you got this UN resolution which called for an immediate ceasefire as to what is going on over there. And of course it was vetoed by the United States. How does that work? Obviously this is, what we're seeing here, and why I'm even bringing this up, is a clear message, and you should be reading it this way, how the military-industrial complex, funded, of course, by the Federal Reserve, is in full control of what is happening. Again, I'm just going to come out and say this world, as much as you may believe the contrary to this, it's just not so. The world is not run by presidents, kings, queens, monarchs, or dictators. Who sits behind the resolute desk is a non-event. Right? There's just a figurehead meant to keep people divided, and that's all it is. And that's how we lose all the time, repeatedly, over and over and over again. And that's exactly what's going to happen here with the next election. Clearly, it appears to me by the current chain of events that are happening right now, that the presidential selection, unless this changes dramatically, you're going to get this same freak sitting behind the resolute desk. Why? Again, a lot of you believe, oh, it's American values that are going to win out. How about there's no way on this earth that American values are going to weigh out in the longer run here? For those of you that believe that Trump supports that, how did it work out last time? He obviously empowered the Federal Reserve just like his predecessor did, and just like the predecessor before that, the current guy included. Obviously, it's all about the military machine. It was Trump's job to rebuild the military, which he did. Massive funding for the military-industrial complex, but now Biden is using that weapon on the world, and we are obviously involved in genocide as well, supporting all of this here. And of course there's going to be, what they're setting up here, it looks to me, is a bailout for the Ukrainian economy, and you're going to pay for that too. Just be ready for this kind of stuff, because that's where it's going. All right, funding for war, death, pain, suffering on a biblical level. It's happening right here. And the powers that be, in this case it happens to be central banks who control the world. They are pushing their agenda on every single one of us, and part of that agenda is, again, the divide and conquer mechanism, and it's always the same since since forever. It just won't change here, and that's how they win. We can't come together. There's no way that can happen at this particular time. It's the red versus the blues, and it's all, two wings of the same bird. When you get hip to that, when you realize what's happening, maybe you'll get to see what's actually going on here. But it's the Federal Reserve, it's central banks, it's the military-industrial complex that runs the entire world at this particular time, and it's going to keep going that on. Well, it's been going on for a long time, and that mechanism is going to be fueled even further here moving forward. And it's just not going to change, unfortunately. So what does that mean for you and me? Well, I think we're on the right side of this entire thing here. Understanding at least what we need to do, and we're going to stick to that plan here. A global debt, if you believe for a second that whoever they stick behind the resolute desk is going to make global debt or debt here in the United States just miraculously go away, no, it's going to be amplified much, much more here. And again, that's the goal of central banks to inflate. That's their power. We don't have anyone with enough balls to end the Federal Reserve because it would destroy everything. It would bring the economy to its knees, which is going there anyway. The grand plan, as you know, is to destroy, and it's happening right now, and it's accelerating the economy on a worldwide basis to issue in a new system. And it's interesting here, some of the economic news that we got. So not only we get the U.S. veto of an immediate ceasefire to the atrocities that are going on here, that are occurring here, and we're being forced to fund more of that. Let me just cover this real quick. So mortgage demand craters last week. Okay, no surprise here. People are just done. They're maxed out. But this is what I want you to really pay attention to. And this is, again, no surprise. There's a couple of things that are plagues upon the world. Okay, it may not seem as prevalent as a scamdemic, but there are a few other so-called disease processes going on. So drug abuse, alcoholism, gambling addiction, prescription drug abuse as well, obviously included in drug abuse. These are skyrocketing here. And today, there are more people, including children, on antidepressants than ever before in history. Antipsychotics as well. So, I mean, there's obviously something very wrong here. I happen to believe that what happens in one part of the world affects all of us, whether we understand it or not. Okay, the Almighty, if you believe in a higher power, I do here. This is a way of him or God, however you perceive God. Okay, as a him or her or a combination of the two. Letting us all know that things are wrong. When you have things like drug abuse, alcoholism, gambling addiction, prescription drug abuse, children on antidepressants here, and with nowhere to go but a lot worse, you have to understand, we're all being affected by this. We're all being affected by this in one way or the other. There is a natural energy that has been put in place by the Almighty, and in my view, and it links us all together. And if we don't take care of each other, we pay for it. We pay for it in the form of drug abuse, addiction, gambling addiction, prescription drug abuse, children suffering from depression, obesity, you name it. It's going on and on and on. Poor health, mental illness. I mean, it's all this is obviously part of mental illness here. Drug abuse, addiction, gambling addiction. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop, just so you know. And it's another way that they're bringing the world to its knees right now. Not just through obvious things like the mechanism of war and fueling the military-industrial complex. What did we find out yesterday? What did the White House try to sell us yesterday? Oh, 2 out of every $3 that are being used to fund war is being spent here in the United States. What's the message there? The military-industrial complex. And again, as you well know, the faster this economy falls and craters, and it is fastest we've ever seen in history, the more the global debt swells, and that's going to expand much further, the higher the stock market's going to go. I'm still waiting for a pullback here. Looks like we don't get these things anymore. Up, record high, record high, record high. As you and I said would happen at the end of last year. Imagine my shock, imagine your shock. It's amazing when you can call these things out before they happen. You understand? I think pretty much we're on the same page with all this. Anyway, all of this just plays in together. Every single piece is fitting. And that's really what we're doing here with this blog. We're trying to, again, we're playing a game of incomplete information. We're trying to put these things together in a way that makes sense. That's logical. And I think, honestly, gauging from all of you, from the feedback I get, and we're doing a pretty damn good job of this here. And we're going to stay that way. We're going to stay ahead of the curve, as you all know. Now, looking at this market just real quick. Stock futures are slightly lower this morning. 10-year yield, stable. Okay, 4.26 ain't doing too much. Relative strength of the dollar is flat. It's kind of a flat everything this morning here. Nothing major going on. Okay, we'll see where this all goes. I think we'll have a pretty good idea of it, especially gauging from what we just talked about here. Spending for war, death, pain, and suffering is going to go on and on and on and on. It's not going to stop. Every mechanism of anything you can dream about is going to be instituted to pull more cash into the now. We are in a full-blown liquidity crisis. You all know that. That's the backbone of what's happening here. A full-blown, full-on liquidity crisis. And that means they must kill. They must slaughter millions. And that's where it's going to go. Just so you know, this is just the beginning of it all. And I think we're on the same page with that too. Unfortunately, people are too blind. Not you. People don't see what's happening here, and they don't understand it. Again, and they can't be allowed to know what's going on. They must be kept polarized. That polarization makes people absolutely blind. The red, the blue. There are some people that are so deeply indoctrinated into that they cannot see anything else. Part of the design as well. Anyway, so are you surprised to hear that drug abuse, alcoholism, gambling addiction, prescription drug abuse, children on antidepressants more so than ever in history, children on antidepressants? Could you imagine this? Could you imagine this is the world we're in today? Does this surprise you? I don't think so. It doesn't surprise me. I think it's, that in itself is an atrocity, but it's not going to stop. This guy here loves you a lot from the heart. People, I want to hear from you. Please get this stuff out there. Share it. I will see all of you later, 4:05 p.m. Eastern for the live stream. Looking forward to that. And we're going to have, I was going to say a good time, but this is anything but that, honestly. It's just pathetic. See you later.